Hey, it's me. So real quick before we start, I just wanted to let you know that the face cam for this video kind of got mixed in with some of the other face cam stuff from another Let's Play that's going to be starting real soon. However, in the editing process, things got mixed up, and when I deleted some of the old footage to make room for new footage, I kind of lost the face cam for this episode. So unfortunately, my face will be absent. However, my voice and all that stuff is still there, so enjoy the bigger screen as my face won't be taking up any of it, and I apologize for that. I hope it won't happen again. So, enjoy the show. What up? David here with some more Danganronpa IF. We're continuing on this intense story, and now Sakura is ready to kick some Kuma, if you know what I mean. So I will say it's been a few days since I've uploaded, and beyond my normal schedule, and I just want to apologize, but life has gotten to me a little bit. A lot of my schedule got eaten away because I'm teaching again, and then also I had a whole event in the Hamptons in Long Island for my other job, and so it was a really fun event, but also it does take up time, so I hope you can bear with me, and I'm happy to be uploading again. So let's kick this off. A sound even louder than the motorcycle's engine filled the room. When Mukuro looked back, she saw Sakura landing on the floor, sending the pack of Monokumas flying several meters away. So yeah, Mondo just came out of nowhere and grabbed Mukuro out of danger's way, and now Sakura's gonna do her thing. Sakura? If she heard Mukuro mumble her name, Sakura didn't acknowledge it. Like a statue of a fearsome god king, she calmed her breathing as she stood before the pack of Monokumas, ready for battle. Your pursuit methods seem unbecoming for one who claims to be the ultimate hacker. An overpowering aura seeped from her skin, and her skin shimmered with an intense heat. As it began to fill the hallway, I saved it! Unlike the power of Mukuro's sheer violence, this wasn't the power of martial arts. Mukuro froze the air around her, and time along with it, but Sakura was generating enough heat to boil space itself as she stood before the Monokumas. With the heat stinging her back, Mukuro looked ahead. Hifumi and Chihiro were cautiously peeking from behind the door leading to the dorms, while Aoi and Taka kept watch from the inside of the building. After passing them by, Mondo slowed down the motorcycle as he reached the front of the cafeteria and turned into a complete stop. The other students looked warily at Mukuro. But among these students, Mukuro noticed two people who weren't regarding her with suspicion. One was Kyoko, who seemed to be studying the situation. The other one was a skinny boy who was leaning against Kyoko's shoulder. Makoto? Mukuro's lips began to tremble as she sat on the back of her motorcycle. Ignoring the pain coursing through his body, Makoto smiled at Mukuro and repeated what he said to her earlier. I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro. Unfortunately, Mukuro was unable to realize her hope of filling her little sister with despair. Instead, she had successfully planted the seeds of hope in her fellow students. Bum bum! Mukuro is a good... team good. Or at least for right now. Makoto had barely regained consciousness while Mukuro was fighting the horde of Monokumas at the main entrance. While he woke up, he did something extremely simple. He talked about his memories. Most of the students were skeptical, even after listening to Mukuro's recorded confession on Chihiro's laptop. Oh right! He has his memories back because he did the thing! Obviously, they were not entirely convinced at first when Makoto woke up, but after Sakura asked him a certain question, the ambience completely changed. Beyond the walls of his school, the world is completely destroyed? You're saying there's no one else alive? Makoto slowly sat up to answer Sakura's meek question. Don't worry. I'm sure Kenichiro is still safe. I don't know who that is. I'm sure he'll still keep his promise to you. Kenichiro, is that Danganronpa Zero? 'Cause if it is, I don't know. Sakura gasped. Kenichiro, who was the only man who she couldn't defeat. Oh wait, no, that's... Oh, who had promised her a rematch and made her one of the other promises as well. How do you know about that name? How do you know about that promise? Because you told me. No. No. Oh, I thought that said Monokuma. Makoto slowly corrected himself. You told all of us. Sakura went silent after hearing those words. Right, that's the person she has a grudge after. I think that's her FTE, right? Her free time event. But then she faced the other students and spoke in a loud, clear voice. I'm going to trust Makoto. Sakura? Though Aoi was shocked, Sakura continued to speak with determination. What Makoto just said is something I kept locked away inside my memories. In fact, I was planning on keeping that a secret until the day I die. But if I shared that secret, that means there was once a strong bond between Makoto and myself, and with my fellow students as well. Sakura, aren't you still aware enough that you're the traitor? Makoto continued to talk in a gentle tone. Though it couldn't have been good for his health, he continued to slowly talk about the memories that the other students no longer had. Why do you know about the story that I'm planning to write? Are you a specialist NAN user who can predict the future? Oh, that was Hifumi. You already finished that story, Hifumi. You had me help you with inking. Ah! Oh, wait a sec! How did you know I extorted money from that girl related to the Kuzuryu clan? Because you even tried to sell my organs to them. His wounds were excruciating, but even so, Makoto kept smiling and talking about their lives together. As if it was his duty to do so now that he had regained his memories. I mean, Makoto would definitely feel that. As the other students listened to him, they slowly began to realize something. The vivid accounts he was providing could be explained by just passing knowledge. Clearly, some kind of bond between them all had been erased. Only Byakuya remained cynical. There's no way I would have grown closer to any of you. It's likely that you're all secretly working together. Though Byakuya was still hostile towards Makoto's recollection of their memories, for the time being he determined that Makoto wasn't actually a terrorist. Mukuro had bought enough time for Makoto to wake up and share his memories with the others. Even if she hadn't intended to do that, there was still a small sliver of hope that she grasped tightly. It's so interesting how this change of events really took it down another route. And now, she looked at the boy who had smiled at her. Mukuro didn't know what to say. As she looked, she couldn't think of anything to say at all. The battle was over, and Mukuro was now back to being a disappointing girl. She turned away from everyone's faces and apologetically climbed off the back of the motorcycle. But Makoto saw her and slowly opened his mouth to say, "Thank you, Mukuro. You saved my life." Makoto gave her words of sincere gratitude between his weak breaths. Mukuro couldn't bring herself to look at him as she mumbled to herself, "Why? Huh? If Kyoko told you, then you already know what I did, right?" After regaining his memories and learning the truth, Mukuro should have been nothing but a hater traitor to him. Why would he smile at someone like her? Mukuro kept her head down. Makoto smiled as he was unsure how to respond, and said, "Well, I guess you're right. But you have also saved my life many times during these past 2 years, and what the hell has been going on those past 2 years? I thought they were in peace." Makoto took a deep, quiet breath and smiled at Mukuro again. "You're my friend. We all spend time with each other. It'd be great if you could look for a different path, not despair. And if there's any way I can help you, I will." Do you really think I can walk another path at this point? I don't know what you can do, or even what I can do. But I think it's more important to look for that path instead of actually finding it. Was this intentional or a coincidence? Just before he regained his memories, Makoto had said something similar to Mukuro when she spoke to him in the nurse's office as Junko. Regardless of whether he lost his memories or regained them, those words revealed Makoto's true character. As Mukuro confirmed that to herself, Makoto blurted out something that was almost too trusting. "And it's not just you, even Junko can." But he was immediately interrupted. Monokuma's face appeared on every monitor in the academy, and his laughter seemed to be coming out of every speaker.
I could have pretending to be that ultimate hacker.
Oh, jeez, what the hell have I done with my Monokuma voice?
But it's boring to impersonate someone who doesn't even exist.
There we go.
Hi, Hajime. Hi, Hajime. Hi, Hajime. If this keeps up, I'll lose my identity and I'll turn into Kanakuma.
There we go, I got it back. Kyoko looked up at a surveillance camera and addressed Monokuma directly. You seem to give up pretty easily.
There isn't a bear anywhere that gives up as easily as I do. Regardless, I'm pretty sure Chihiro has figured out the secret of my control program by now. So,
Just as I thought, you included that program on purpose. Kyoko realized something when Mukuro told her about Junko. There were only two reasons such a hateful person would intentionally leave an obvious clue inside the Monokuma units. Either Junko wanted to learn the students to learn the truth about the outside world and themselves on their own and turn their hopes into despair, or she was looking forward to that clue resulting in her own plan being undone, which would allow her to feel despair towards herself. I actually think it's yes to both. She was an angel of everlasting darkness, delighting in her own despair and using it to spread despair and destruction to those around her. Why would someone like that continue to play the role of Monokuma?
actually, I set that program for Chihiro to discover if she happened to be one of the final survivors. I felt so sad and empty that my preparation was a waste, but I'm going to think about it positively. The word retreat doesn't even exist in Monokuma's dictionary.
Nervousness began to grip the students as Monokuma continued talking in his relaxing, uplifting voice.
Now then, it looks like everyone's here, including Toko, who's still tied up in her room. So let's start the heart-throbbing, exciting, special graduation exam.
We're graduating already, huh? No death? No nothing? Huh? The students broke out in noisy confusion, but Monokuma ignored them and continued talking.
Don't think about it too hard. Relax, relax. Change Elax to Rupert for all I care. Rupert? I'm still the most adorable bear here.
Rupert! Okay. That's a weird reference if it's what I think it is. Byakuya, visibly annoyed with Monokuma's nonsensical ramblings, shouted, I already know it's you, Junko. Stop this stupid game and show yourself.
Oh my, don't you know? If you want to lure the Mastermind out of her heavenly hidey hole, you need to bring a worthy sacrifice. You're not worthy at all. Do you really think the Mastermind would just show herself for your pathetic hope and despair? Wahaha!
He roared maniacally and then began explaining the graduation exam.
If you pass my exam, everyone will graduate, but if you fail, you'll be held back for a whole year. I'll reset your memories, give you a fresh new lease on life, and you'll reintroduce yourselves at the start of the school year again. They say people's lives don't come with reset buttons, but I'm not a people. Whether it's soft resets or hard resets, I can do as I please.
I added text, that's why. Alright. Yasuhiro seemed confused, but the other students knew what Monokuma meant by reset. He was going to force them to... Yeah, he just said that. As Yasuhiro struggled to understand, Taka pointed at a nearby monitor and shouted, Stop this already! No matter what you plan to do to us, we'll never commit murder! These past few days should have already made that clear to you!
What was that? Jumped Monokuma. Are you serious? Of course, no one
would ever take another human's being life for any reason! As Taka shouted, one of the students, a pale-faced girl standing apart from the others, looked away. It was Sayaka. As she trembled, a voice popped up from behind her.
What do you think, Sayaka?
I'm assuming that's Monokuma. She couldn't even turn around from sheer terror, but Sayaka knew. She knew Monokuma was standing right behind her.
Do you really think none of you will become a killer?
Monokuma leaned towards Sayaka and asked her a question only she could hear.
By the way, Sayaka, why did you go to Makoto's room when nothing strange had happened yet? Did you two have an inappropriate relationship? What would you fans think if they found out you made a move on a boy by sneaking into his room? Or were you there for some other reason? Maybe cooking up a little stew, and I don't see any ultimate cooks around here if you catch my drift. The paprika's on the other shelf and the rosemary's on this one, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what I mean. What the fuck am I saying? She could barely make a sound, but just scream. as her trembling worsened. Monokuma had nothing to gain by cornering Sayaka and toying with her emotions like this. He simply wanted to see the young singer fall into despair over her true character. And for that reason, I'm out. Monokuma did not relent.
Hey. What were you trying to do to your close friend that you've known for the past 2 years?
Her determination from last night blended with the memories Mikoto had recounted, and ate away at Sayaka's mind like a raging disease. I don't know why it was raging. As her mind began to rip itself apart, she fell to her knees. A clear ball flying at just under 105 miles per hour struck Monokuma in the mouth with enough force to sink into his face. The speaker in Monokuma's mouth was immediately destroyed as his body rolled into a wall and stopped moving. Sayaka came to her senses and looked where the ball came flying from. Oh no! Did Leon throw the crystal ball? She saw Leon breathing heavily as he stared intensely at Monokuma. Oh my god, Leon's gonna get fucked. Again! Yasuhiro grabbed him and yelled, "Oh, dude, why did you do that, Leon? That crystal ball is really valuable." So, okay, it seems like no matter what timeline we enter, Leon's gonna throw the ball. Leon had stolen Yasuhiro's crystal ball and thrown it at Monokuma. That Monokuma bastard was trying to take Sayaka hostage. What was I supposed to do? Dude, that crystal ball just cost me $2 trillion. $2 trillion! I really sound like an ultimate mechanic now that I think about my voice. Man, they don't even print that much money anymore. Oh, bullshit. Besides, if the world's all screwed up, what the hell are you gonna need that money for anyway? But if it's safe out there, I'll just join the major leagues or whatever and pay you back. Yeah, well, I could pay you back doing something else besides baseball. Wait, what? As those two argued, that sounds weird. As those two argued, Sayaka fell to her knees. Hey, shouted Leon, running towards her. Sayaka, are you okay? She looked at him and stared blankly. Leon, I was gonna fucking murder you. She had made up her mind and she raised her head and she said, there's something I need to confess to you later. What? Seriously? Sayaka was staring at Leon so intensely that he briefly forgot about the current situation. Not just to you, but to Mikoto and the others too. Sayaka had made her mind to confess a sin that was weighing heavily on her heart, but Leon seemed to not hear the latter half of her remark. She ran back to the others, slapped Hifumi and Yasuhiro on their backs, and he ran, and shouted, "Alright everyone, let's ace this exam or whatever, and let's get out of here already." Why do I make Leon sound like Guy Fieri? I would love to know. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Leon's Super Burger. I'm gonna take a huge bite out of this thing. Alright, there's no way I'm gonna let my happy memories of this place get taken away. The Monokuma inside the monitor responded, "Leon, you struck out against your principal. You're going to die." Fine. Now that things are finally coming to a boil, let's start the graduation exam. Wait, did he just get a free shot at Monokuma with no repercussions? I thought he was dead. Sakura, who had been outside the dormitory, suddenly appeared with some information. The Monokumas in the hallway are acting peculiar. The students all moved to the main building to see what Sakura was talking about. They saw 50 Monokumas standing in 2 rows along the walls of the hallway. The hall walls, if you will. And one standing at the very end of the hall. At the wall. By the wall. In the hall. And there was something strange on top of his head. An enlarged version of the escape button that Mikoto had obtained from the Mana machine. As each student took in this sight, an announcement rang throughout the school. The me at the end of the hall has a button on top of his head that'll open the main entrance. You'll have 15 seconds to get that button, and if you do that, I'll let you have it in place of a diploma. The students seemed surprised by the straightforward explanation. Only Celeste remained calm, and she asked Monokuma with a bored look on her face. Pardon me? Of course, it is not as simple as running up and taking it, is it? Oh, ho. How mean. Do I look like the kind of headmaster that would interfere with the student's graduation? Yes. Forget the gunfire salutes. I'm gonna send my graduates off with some fireworks. 100 fireworks to be exact. Enough for 20 seconds of hardcore partying. The more perceptive students immediately realized what he was talking about. The bombs installed inside each Monokuma. They would explode one after the other, filling the hole with fire as soon as time started.
After 15 seconds, the me standing in the back of the hall is gonna sacrifice himself to give you guys one final firework. By the way, this probably isn't important, but that button isn't very durable.
This graduation exam was Monokuma's way of saying that he had no intention of letting anyone leave. It was clear from the explosion that the students saw during the entrance exam that the halls of Hope's Peak Academy would be bathed in fire. Even if someone was lucky enough to survive the explosions, the burns on their body alone would be enough to send them into a fatal shock. Their lungs might be completely incinerated by the scorched air before that. Even if they sacrificed one student to run through, the odds were low that they would even succeed. There was no reason for every student to run at once either, and a shadow of despair fell upon their faces. Well, you know, Makoto would be a good one if he was able-bodied at this point, because, you know, luck favors the bold, especially when they're filled with hope.
Nice, very, very nice. I almost want to take a picture, so I have those faces as souvenirs.
As Monokuma laughed from behind the monitor, Sakura stepped forward.
I'll do it. I've only seen the explosion once, but I believe I am capable of withstanding its power.
No! Shouted Aoi. Aoi! Jeez! You can't! Even you can handle 100 of those explosions! Sakura shook her head.
I'm the only one who even has a chance.
Suddenly, Mondo remembered the motorcycle that he parked inside the dormitory and said,
Hold up, that motorcycle might be fast enough to go through those explosions. I'll do it. Don't be hasty,
urged Sakura.
Even if the motorcycle is unharmed by explosions, doesn't mean its rider will be.
As Sakura and the others continued their debate, one person stepped towards the hallway lined with Monokuma's. Luck boy! Or Mukuro.
I'll do it.
Mukuro! Screamed Makoto weakly. Yeah, Makoto ain't doing it, it seems. Mukuro?
Hi, I'm Monokuma, voiced by Mukuro Ikusaba. I really am not gonna talk very much, I guess. I'm Mukuro.
Anyway, with her back facing Makoto, turned her head to the side slightly, and gave him a small nod. Oop. She knew it would come to this. She knew why Monokuma would pose such an impossible exam. Junko is already looking forward to the next despair game. She's going to erase everyone's memories, including mine. She just wants to torment us and fill us with despair. Before that happens, I don't know why I always end up yawning. Is it because I shouldn't be talking this much? I don't know. But Mukuro knew her sister's personality all too well, and that's why she was confident. She knew that the escape button was real. Whenever Junko brought despair to the others, she always made sure there was a possibility that despair would befall her instead. If the students won this gamble and made it through the horrible situation, they would finally escape to the outside world. The outcome would obviously fill Junko with immense despair. In the same way she left a clue in Monokuma's control program, Junko could not be satisfied until she took plans to assure her own destruction. It was only this quality that made Junko the ultimate despair. That's why Mukuro was determined to do it. She knew she was the only person who stood a chance of making that outcome possible, even if she had to risk her life. But right now, Mukuro wanted to live more than anything. She wanted to hold on to this world, a world she had no interest in previously. She didn't even know if this hesitation she felt was disappointing or not. But she wanted to live and continue searching for a new path. A new path where she could abandon her submission to despair, where she could accept the sins of the past and continue to live. Mukuro, who is known as a war machine, found her heart beset by overwhelming fear and anxiety. Until now, it had never occurred to her that determination was necessary to live. As if she was brushing that fear aside, she quietly said, Thank you, Makoto. Unfortunately, the words she said to the boy who showed her new possibilities never reached his ears. Oh, whoops. Sakura, however, heard her and frowned as she said,
If you're planning to sacrifice yourself as an act of penance, I'll stop you with all my power.
Though her words were firm, there was an unmistakable affection hiding in them. Both girls had dedicated their lives to battle, and yet Mukuro felt a twinge of jealousy towards Sakura for possessing something she lacked. Mukuro leaned towards Sakura and whispered in her ear.
Dots. What? Are you serious?
As Sakura's frown intensified, Monokuma's voice blared through the halls. It was such a secret, even the readers couldn't hear it.
Alright, I'm gonna start the exam now. Ready, set, go!
There was no time for questions or objections. The frontmost Monokuma exploded, sending a roaring wave of heat down the hall. But Mukuro didn't look away. She began moving, powered by resolute determination. As long as Mukuro dies, I don't care what happens. But Mukuro can't die. Mukuro can. Oh, I didn't know Junko was a fan of Blue's Clues. Monokuma-rune. As soon as the graduation exam started, the Mastermind focused her control entirely on the Monokuma holding the escape button, and completely synchronized her field of vision with it. She knew what was going to happen next. She could predict what her sister Mukuro would do in this exact situation. Or she would choose to focus her superhuman skill with weaponry. And so, through Monokuma's eyes, she watched the scene unfold exactly as she'd predicted. A pointed metal bar burst through the explosions, heading straight for the weak point of the Monokuma holding the escape button. Specifically, it was aiming it for the point where the bomb's detonation system and Monokuma's power source overlapped. It flew straight and true, as if it had been fired by a master archer. In order to bring despair to Monokuma and by extension Junko as well, the super soldier known as Mukuro Ikusaba threw the pipe like a spear so they could attack the same weak point she had pierced into the nurse's office. As explosions filled the hallway until only fire remained visible, spear speed and precision as it soared to its target defied all human logic. But the Mastermind knew! She knew Mukuro had used her power to fill the world with despair. Power that was disappointing, all that disappointing girl had. But that power was useless against Monokuma! The Mastermind, the Pastermind, had predicted that Mukuro would put all her effort into that throw, and Monokuma caught, the metal bar perfectly between his hands. The force of the throw knocked Monokuma back several yards, but the pointed end of the bar never pierced his chest. Well, that was disappointing. The Mastermind turned... Well, that was disappointing. The Mastermind turned to look at a different matter. She wanted to see the look on Mukuro's face when she realized she had failed. The despair of seeing the final Monokuma explode right before her eyes, completely obliterating the escape button. She wanted to sear this memory of her disappointing sister's final moments as her newfound hope sank into a dark pit of despair. On instinct, she turned her attention towards the surveillance camera that hadn't been destroyed. But instead of seeing Mukuro and the others, she only saw Sakura, who looked as though she had finished launching an attack. Huh? She only thought it was strange for 1 second, but then the hopelessly powerful Mastermind completely understood the situation and shifted her point of view to Monokuma. But because of that single second, Junko would feel just a pang of despair. What happened? 3 seconds left! You know, this is such a tasty cliffhanger, I have to leave it here. So, I'm gonna end this a little early. 2 minutes early. It ain't no skin off anyone's nose. So, I can't wait to see what happens next, for sure. Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smack the bell so you never miss a thing. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you, Bladed Cross, for supporting me on Patreon. And I'll see you all in the next one. For now, this is Dave out. Peace out. Oh, how is this gonna end? I hope Mukuro stays safe in this alternate timeline, but we shall see.